Well, the SABC will be back in court this morning. This time it's facing Solidarity, which is representing some journalists who were sacked. The union has approached the Labour Court to obtain an interdict to set aside the dismissals. Our reporter Sikelelwa Mdingi is in Braamfontein, where Solidarity will hold a press briefing a little later on. Sikelelwa, a very good morning to you. And so much has happened over the past 24 hours involving the SABC and its decisions with the Helen Suzman Foundation, also with the eNCA as well. Just tell us what today's court appearance is all about. What's expected to happen in court today?
Good morning, Yvette. As you rightfully say, a lot has been happening over not just this week, the last few weeks around the South African Broadcasting Corporation. As they say in Xhosa, every day there's a new thing when it comes to the broadcaster. Well, today we are here outside the Labour Court in Braamfontein, where the focus is finally on the labour issue between SABC and the 87 actually of the employees that it had a dispute with. Just a bit of context, Yvette. These are the journalists that were given discipline. About 3 of them were suspended. Another number were received letters informing them that they're facing disciplinary processes against them. These are the journalists who publicly stood out against the broadcaster and some of the issues taking place at the office. Well, they were preparing to come here anyway, Yuveka, 4 of the journalists that are being represented by Solidarity. But they had to change their strategy when on Monday, to their surprise, their lawyer told me that they received letters from the SABC informing them in not so many words that they were dismissed. In that one page later, Yveka, where the public broadcaster telling those employees that it is common cause that you have made known to the SABC that you will continue to disrespect the SABC, your employer. And it has now become clear to the SABC that you have no intention to refrain from your conduct of undermining the SABC and its management. And with those words, in that one page later, they were told that they were dismissed with immediate effect. So these dismissals, Yveka, they came to play on Monday and on Tuesday. And Solidarity was meant to come here today to ask this court to interdict the disciplinary processes. Well, they've had to amend their paperwork in the last 2 days to factor in the fact that it's not just disciplinary processes, it's actual dismissals themselves. So this is the first round in this battle of wills between the employer and employee, with the employees insisting that they want their jobs back. And of course, the SABC is saying it cannot tolerate the disrespect any longer, and they don't want them walking in the corridors at Auckland Park.
All right, and then just to clarify for us that it is not all the journalists that Solidarity will be representing, it's just some of them?
Yes, Yveka, it's just 4 journalists who will be here today. When we went over the week, there were talks that they might collaborate their fight against their employer, but it's still not yet clear whether the different parties have been able to talk, the different lawyers have been able to come together to form one strategy. So we do understand that today here, for the 4 journalists represented by Solidarity will be making their case. But of course, at 8:45, as you mentioned earlier, 45 minutes from now, Solidarity will be giving the media a clear picture of exactly what is going to unfold here today, and of course also giving us a peek into their strategy going forward in their fight against the SABC.
Sikelelwa, I mean, just looking at the about turn that the SABC has made in the past couple of days, I mean, that they've reached the settlement with the Helen Suzman Foundation, they went back to eNCA and said, okay, we will do what you've asked us to do. Is there a chance, is there talk that you might know of, that, you know, that this might all not actually have to go the whole hog in court, that these journalists, this might mean now that the journalists will get their jobs back, that things will change based on all those decisions that have been taken over the past 24 hours?
As I mentioned just earlier, Yveka, this is a battle of the wills. Unlike the other battles the SABC has been facing in the different courts, this one, it goes down to the contractual agreements between these employees and the SABC, Yveka. We spoke to a labour lawyer on Tuesday trying to understand the nitty-gritties of what can play out in this instance. And he was saying that the SABC is accusing these employees of misconduct, and of course it will be up to these employees to prove that it's defensible, it was reasonable, it was justified to act as they did. Well, we do know that the COO has said that he exactly a week ago saying that they will take They will deal with those inside the institution that are defying instruction, calling it Operation Cleanup. Well, we've seen him change his mind over a few things, well, the organization changing its mind. We're not sure yet, Yuveka, how this one will play itself out, especially considering that while we are looking at these journalists as a collective, these are actually 7 separate cases that the SABC has to deal with. So it will have to be different decisions with each journalist. And of course, there's the charge sheet, whose contents we're not really sure of. We do know that Vuyamvogo was on a freelance contract, and it's still not yet clear, but reports do say that it simply became a case with the SABC saying, don't call us, we'll call you. So in all those things, it's this different contracts that they'll have to find different ways of dealing with. So if the SABC decides to drop the charges, then that also changes the ballgame altogether. But like I said when I started, at the SABC, so we're not sure yet how this one will play out.
All right, well, we will find out a little later on the latest in the SABC saga. She's keeping an eye on it for us, Sikelelwa Mdingi, outside the Labour Court.